Nuala,
Hello,
thanks for coming to the hospice to talk about your dad, John, your late father. What was the condition that he had that took him from you?
Dementia.
Dementia?
Vascular dementia,
Now
yes.
you see, so many people think that this hospice is only available for people who've got cancer.
Absolutely, which is what I thought until a friend of mine said to me, why don't you give the hospice a call? And I said, you know Dad hasn't got cancer. No, Nuala, they cover everything in palliative care, end-of-life care. And that was the first thing I did. I called. Right from that first call until the very end, it was fantastic. The warmth, the love, the care, everything was second to none.
He got care at home, didn't he?
He had care at home because it was always my thing. I'm an only child that my parents would never go into a care home.
No.
I wanted to look after them. It was payback time.
So between you and the hospice, you were able to do that. You were able to basically fulfil a promise to him that he wouldn't go into care. Care would come to him.
Care came to him, and boy, did it come.
Well, explain that to me. How exactly were they able to help?
Okay, so I knew that my dad was in the decline, but I was always, you know it, but you don't want to realise it, acknowledge it.
You mean that the end is approaching? That's what you mean. Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
So I rang, as I say, and this lovely, lovely lady came, Lillian. And what they do is an assessment. And it was just after Christmas, actually, at this point, because I made the call at Christmas, but we started the assessment in the new year of 2020. And they chatted to Mum, then they did the assessment with Dad, they watched how he was eating, they watched various things that they know what to look for that we don't necessarily understand. And
Which is, just to interrupt you, that's so helpful as well for you, isn't it? Because it's like getting a diagnosis. Actually, getting a diagnosis can help when you're wondering what on earth's going on. And for them to analyse exactly where your dad was and how it was affecting him must have been really useful for him.
It was frightening. It was upsetting because there was a confirmation that it was happening.
Yeah.
Dad was now in palliative care. But once that diagnosis had been made, they just put everything into place. So Mum could become my dad's wife again. I could become my dad's daughter again, and not just his carers, because that's basically what we were, Richard.
Absolutely.
We were Dad's carers.
Yeah.
So we had different ladies on different days. Each lady brought something different to the table. We had a lady called Anne who would sit quietly with Dad. Julie, how could I ever forget Julie? She was the doer. And she went above, each lady went above and beyond, but Julie, for me, always kind of stuck out because she was there on Dad's last day.
Right.
And she put so much into place for me. She took so much
pressure off.
Things that I wouldn't have had a clue what to do. And they were just amazing.
So you've described very well how all this helped you and your mother, your father's wife. How did it help him?
Well, his dignity was a major importance to us, and he was kept very dignified throughout it all. He wasn't always aware of who these different faces were, but he knew my mum and he knew me. He knew my husband, and that to him was everything. So once he could see us and hear our voices, he was just such a beautiful person anyway. Everyone loved him. So other people coming in, it didn't faze him at all because we were there.
Because you were there to interpret it basically for him.
Yes, basically.
You mentioned there his last day, so I feel comfortable asking you about it. Were you able to say the kind of goodbye that you wanted to too?
Everything.
Really?
Everything. Yes.
Same with my mum as well.
Yeah.
She had dementia too.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
It was peaceful. That morning, actually, I was running around because Julie, bless her, she'd arranged to have the syringe driver for the district nurses to come and administer that. But we didn't have enough of the injection. So on the Saturday morning, I was running around trying to get this other injection, but sadly we didn't need it. So coming to Dad's last 30 minutes of his life, you knew, because it's not the nicest of things to witness, as you would understand. So we
the breathing,
the noises, it's horrible. So we just sat quietly holding his hand.
And he knew you were there?
Yeah.
That's lovely. It's funny, you've talked about the syringe drivers and stuff, which implies a sort of a level of tech. But the detail that I loved about your story was the ice lollies that they gave you.
Yes,
What was
so
that?
Dad's with dementia as well, there's swallowing, everything, it just all goes, and we weren't able to feed him the way that we had been. And one of our lovely, I called them my angels because that's what they were, suggested the ice lollies. And oh my goodness, they were amazing. They stimulated his throat. You could see that he was enjoying the flavour. It was also giving him hydration. And it was another way of getting something into him that he enjoyed, because everything else had...
Did he have a favourite flavour?
Not particularly, no. He did have a very sweet tooth, so any flavour would have been fine with my dad.
What did your father do when he was a working man?
He worked for Gordon's Gin Distillery. Oh, yeah. He was a truck mechanic. And he was also a fabulous musician, very much well known.
What did he play?
The accordion. So he was well known within the Irish community. So to put extra food on the table, off he would go on a Saturday or a Sunday off to the pub to play the accordion. And just a lovely, lovely man.
And when did you notice, as his daughter or as a family, the onset of the dementia? How old was he?
That was quite obvious, really. He was 80 when he was diagnosed. Buttoning things up. Mum and I, it was our thing. We'd pop off into Romford on a Saturday morning to do our shopping. And because they would stay with me quite a lot. And we'd get home and his buttons would be all done up differently. God love him, one day he was trying to put his pants on over his trousers and he couldn't figure out why, you know. And I was never one to let things drift. I was straight on it, stitching time. And basically he was 80 and it was those little things that we noticed.
But he lived on until, what, 88?
88, 88.
And would you say his quality of life in those 8 years wasn't as bad as you would have thought?
Oh no, it was fantastic. No, he had a great quality of life, simply because he was surrounded by love.
Absolutely. Just tell me about your dad's last Christmas.
We didn't know. I knew. We didn't make it. No, we didn't make it like it was going to be Dad's last Christmas. But obviously, it was very obvious to me that the decline was there. I didn't do anything differently. Mum didn't do anything differently. We had the best Christmas that we possibly could.
Was he aware that it was Christmas?
Yes, yeah, because he loved Christmas. He absolutely loved Christmas. So we just carried on as normal. We kept every day the same for him. Happy, joyful, lots of music, laughter.
So his last Christmas, even though it wasn't acknowledged that was what it was a good Christmas?
It was fabulous. It was a great Christmas. Even though I knew what was coming, we put it behind us and we just enjoyed it.
And the thing is, the support from the hospice didn't finish with your dad's life.
No.
You had this Orange Line support, which is this, if you like, bereavement counselling, isn't it?
It was amazing. I didn't even ask for it. We just would get calls, and then they would come weekly, and I don't know who these people are, but they're so soothing, they're so comforting and loving, that both Mum and I fully appreciated it, because I would put them on loudspeaker so that Mum could hear, Mum could shout out something if she wanted to. Yeah. More often than not, she didn't. She never got over losing my dad. But the Orange Line, yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Because understandably, so many people in the real world find it very difficult to talk to someone who's just been bereaved. They think they don't want to talk about it.
Yeah,
actually they do.
It's very awkward.
And it's awkward, and they're not sure if they're going to put their foot in it. And people rarely do, actually, when they do raise these issues. But the Orange Line people knew exactly how to talk to you and what you were going through. They got it.
They absolutely got it.
Yeah.
They just know the right questions to ask, the right things to say, and sometimes that's all it needs for somebody to open up and to respond, because we can all respond in different ways, can't we?
Yeah.
And they were fantastic.
Brilliant.
Great help to both of us.
Now, this isn't an interview that's kind of nakedly asking for money. But it's worth pointing out, you know, we hear your story and your father's story, and it makes all of us, if we didn't know, understand how important the hospice is. Not just here in the building at St Francis Hospice, but in the care at home as well.
Absolutely.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So the money really matters, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
And I say it each and every time. If I could jump on a rooftop and shout about the work that's done here, I absolutely would.
It's lovely to talk to you.
Lovely to talk to you too,
Thank you,
Richard. Thank you very much.